Mother Dorsey, I don't understand it how folk been living in the world all their life, been saved 15 minutes, now they want to get on the praise team and want to get on the usher board. And what you need to do for a season, you really need to get off by yourself for a little while. And you really need to have a little talk with Jesus. And don't you leave there until he turn around and he has a talk back with you. See, that's what I liked about the Apostle Paul. When God changed his name, see, he didn't just run to the front of the church and say, you know what, God called me, I'm ready now. No, but what Paul did, Paul went to Arabia. When he got to Arabia, and Arabia is a desert place. It's a place where ain't nobody around but you. Have you ever been in a position where nobody else around but you? And I got to be honest, there have been moments where it wasn't nobody but me and God. I tried to pick up my phone but really couldn't even get a signal. I tried to get an answer but could not get an answer. Tried to get to a computer to get an email but couldn't get to the computer. But oh, when I got to heaven's phone and I picked up heaven's phone and I dialed 3 numbers. I dialed 1 for the Father and 1 for the Son and 1 for the... How many of you know when you dial him up and you call him up, won't he show up? It's a God thing. When we understand it's a God thing, then we'll understand that it's really not even about us. That's when we've really been rooted. Nothing worse than a plant that grows prematurely and it cracks the surface too soon. And so you looked at that thing and you thought it was potential and you got all excited, but a few minutes later, because the seed had not grown down first, then all of a sudden here came the sun and burned up that was about to grow because it grew prematurely. Now let me preach. All right, I'm gonna give you one more, then I'm gonna close. All right, first of all, a tree understands, first of all, that it breathes life even when it appears lifeless. And number 2, we understand that the elements don't necessarily mean elimination. But one more thing, and then I'm going to leave you alone. But the final thing is a tree provides the power that ends up leading to productivity. Yeah. See, and you really want to understand that sometimes unless you have a carpenter's eye. Yeah. See, the thing I like about a carpenter's eye is that a carpenter he can look at a tree and see a chair. Let me preach to 3 or 4 people he can look at the tree and he can see a house, he can see a desk, he can see a table, because he looks at the tree, and when he sees a tree, he don't just see the tree as an intangible object, but he sees the tree as something that can be productive. God, I'm preaching better than y'all letting on this one. Okay. See, a tree provides power. Now, if you get the right kind of tree, like a maple tree, see, what you would do is you can mess around and make some maple syrup. Because the tree ought to be a power source for productivity. Now, if you catch the right tree, you can make a 2x4. You can do it. And likewise, as we are believers, that we ought to be a power source that leads to productivity. See, I didn't understand that until I read Paul's version, his epistle to the church at Ephesus, Ephesians chapter number 2, when it says, for we are his what? We are his workmanship. Now the word workmanship comes from a Greek word, poiema. The word poiema means it's a product that was manufactured by hands. Now, no manufacturer makes a product unless he wants the product to be productive. Now, he does not make a product so that it can sit dormant, so that it does not provide productivity, but he makes the product so that the product can produce. Now, when God made us, he didn't make us just to sit on our do-nothings and do nothing. No, but when he made us with the purpose so that we could be productive. Made us so that we could be productive. Why is it there's so many people in the church dormant, sitting on their do-nothings, doing nothing. Don't challenge yourself until Sunday morning to come to church. And that's the extent of your Christian life. But really, we ought to be the power source that leads to productivity. And if you don't know what your job is, you ought to at least be able to provide shade. In other words, somebody that does not have a relationship with you, they ought to be able to come to you and get some relief. Somebody that does not have a relationship with the Lord, they ought to be able to come to you and get some encouraging word. Yeah, you want to tell somebody that for God so loved the world that he gave his only son. And all you got to do is believe in him. And he will, you shall be saved. Have I got a witness in here? Is there anybody here that can provide shade? You ought to tell somebody if you delight yourself in him. Can I get a witness in here that he will make everything all right? Have I got a witness in here? And I'm so glad tonight that the Lord made me like he did, because I got to be honest, I heard the voice of Jesus say, come unto me and rest. Lay down, thou weary one. Lay down thy head upon my breast. But I came to Jesus just as I was. I was weary, worn, and sad. But I found in him a resting place. And I'm so glad that he made me glad. Have I got a witness in here? Is there anybody here that's going to be productive for the Lord? Will you do me a favor? Do me a favor. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, say, neighbor, I got a song on my mind, and that song is, if you can use anybody, please use me. Have I got a witness in here? Is there anybody here that want to be used by the Lord? Have I got a witness in here? Is there anybody here that's so glad that the Lord put his hand on you? Tell somebody, the only reason that I'm still here is because he put his hand on me. I should have been dead, sleeping in my grave, but thank the Lord, he made death behave. Ain't God all right? Say yeah! Say yeah! I'm so glad tonight that he picked me up, turned me around, placed my feet on a solid ground, put running in my feet, put clapping in my hand, gave me joy. Anybody else that got joy? Don't fool me here now. But if you got joy, look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I got joy. Joy! I got joy. Joy! I've got joy. Joy that policemen can't patrol. Joy that the fire can't burn. Joy that water can't drown. Joy! 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 Ah! Don't fool anybody, but anybody got joy? Does anybody have joy? Does anybody have joy? So the reason why I got joy is because he died. Anybody know he died? He died. He died. But the third day morning, he got up. He got up with all power. Don't fool it, but how many of you know he got all power? So he got all power. Ooh. I just heard the Lord say he's able. Somebody need to hear that. Y'all can rest in that right there. He's able. Whatever it is, he's able. Look at your neighbor and say, he's able. Oh, he's able. He's able. He's able. He's able. Does anybody know he's able? Don't fool it, but is he able? You know he's able. And because you're going to be like a tree. And not just any old tree. I left this part of the message out, but see, there are trees, Joe, that when they die standing straight up. You'll look at them, and the tree will look productive. Birds will come hang out of the tree. Bugs will come hang out of the tree. But if you look at the tree, and my grandfather taught me this, but the tree is dead. The last thing we want to do is have the indictment that we were like a tree, but we wasn't a tree. Because see, when we're really like a tree, we'll understand our position. We're planted by the rivers of water, which means everything that we need has already been supplied. Y'all gonna learn when to shout. And because all of our needs have been supplied, because the source is there, now we're able to be productive. Why? Because the text says that the tree bringeth forth fruit. Watch this. In his season. Some of y'all wonder why you have not been productive yet. It ain't your season. But when it's your season, you shall bring it forth fruit. And the good part about it is that you're going to have the kind of fruit that they talked about in John, where the fruit that remains, it's not going to be seasonal, but it's going to be a fruit that the scripture says his leaf shall not wither. And whatsoever you do,